Hi, everybody. I'm just getting the live stream set up for our Facebook group. All right, guys, I think we are good. Okay, so we're live on Facebook. How is everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Thanks so much for hopping on. All right, so today's training is going to be a little different because I'm going to show you, I'm going to have to do something to see how I can screen share on my iPad to actually show you the buttons and things like that to make it easier. And then I was actually going to go live on TikTok because I do go live every single day at 3 p.m. Eastern or 12 p.m. Pacific. So I figured I could just incorporate that as part of my training to you guys so that way you could actually see me set it up and kind of just listen. You don't have to stay the whole time because I'm usually on live for about an hour. So it's really just for you to kind of go on and kind of, I guess, incorporate what we're going to talk about today. Um, and then you decide if you want to stay on, that's fine. Just to kind of see how I normally do it. So if there's questions, I obviously will ask you guys to ask your questions before I actually go on live because I'm not going to answer questions while on the live because obviously I'm talking to other people on there. Okay. So, okay. First thing that you want to do is for those of you, now you can use TikTok Live for many things, okay? Um, you can use it to, uh, you know, find potentially new clients, or if you're team building, also to kind of share this opportunity with prospects and make those connections, etc. Okay? But it can be very intimidating. But what I want you to first do is I want you to have a general idea of what it is that you're going to talk about, like bullet points, or you don't necessarily want to have like a set script because it's gonna then seem very scripted. So for those of you that have no idea or really cannot not recite word for word, but have a general idea of what the presentation talks about. That's kind of the general gist of what you want to go over during this TikTok live. Okay. So I will tell you, I have about a 10 to 15 minute um, little speech, I guess I want to say, I don't know, that I go over during my live. Um, and it pretty much just talks about who I am, what I do, what type of travel I specialize in for travel clients, because every once in a while I will throw in like a travel tip or like a travel, did you know type of situation, and then who I'm partnered with. So the TikTok live is going to be set up very differently, kind of all the stuff that you guys have been learning about team building, about oh, using Craigslist and whatever, like you're not saying that you're with Archer or with Evolution. The TikTok live is a little different. So I am open. Everyone might have their different thought process on this, but I have actually found a lot more success in just being straightforward from the beginning. This is my host agency. This is who I'm partnered with. And these are their credentials. They've been around for over 70 years. They hold the licensing, the credentialing, errors and emissions insurance that allows you to partner with them as independent travel agents to then start your travel business or just essentially tap into the perks and benefits. So I kind of say the same thing every time: what I do, who I am, how I can help them, and who I'm partnered with. Okay. But I also like to go into different examples. So I will also show, um, I don't show my screen because I believe TikTok will flag it, but I do show, like, I'll pull up a trip, a sample trip on Disney, or I'll pull up an all-inclusive trip and I'll show, like, okay, these are the travel dates. This is the type of experience or whatever. This is the grand total. This is the commission built in. So it's almost like I like to kind of throw in a live example because some people like to, they kind of want to envision that, right? They can potentially see themselves either traveling to that particular destination or maybe they've planned one in the past and they're like, oh, wow, there's actually a good amount of commission built in here. Um, okay, I just want to make sure that there's no uh, messages on Facebook. Okay. So I can't tell you what to say because it's going to be unique to you. And I know that every single one of us has a different type of um, ideal prospect or ideal audience, ideal client, right? So you might find that your ideal client is going to be very similar to your ideal prospect. And you want to make sure that however it is that you're presenting yourself on TikTok, whether if it's in your videos, in your posts across social media, you want it to be congruent. You want it to follow the same pattern. So I primarily specialize in cruises, Caribbean, and Disney. So those are all the videos and all the information that I will share on TikTok, and I'll bring that into the TikTok live as well. Okay. Any questions so far? I know some of you guys have TikTok and have posted, um, already. So what I did was, and I can give you guys kind of like a tip here. Let me see if I can go back into my ChatGPT and see if I can. Oh, that's not going to work. Hey, Richard. Let me see if I can pull up my TikTok live thread. TikTok live. That's not what it is. TikTok live training. No. Just so you guys can see or just have an idea, um, kind of what prompt to give TikTok live. I think it was this one. Let's see. Job posting. Oh, here it is. TikTok live. Okay. So, oh always have. Okay. So something I'm just gonna read off of the little scripts that ChatGPT gave me. So make sure that for those of you that can on TikTok, I know you do have to have 1,000 followers before you can actually have a bio, or I'm sorry, a link tagged there in your bio, like as an actual hyperlink. So if you're able to have a link, make sure that it is either a link, like a general link, like a link tree or Stan Store or something that, because people are curious. People are going to want to know, okay, who's this chick about? Like, what is she talking about? And they're going to then go to your page and they're going to want to click on your link, right? So make sure that that's optimized. Make sure that your profile is set up, you know, appropriately. And one thing too is you want to have a little bit of you want to have like a title for your TikTok. Have you guys ever scrolled on TikTok and you guys have seen like people will have like an image pinned there, or they may have like a title above their head with maybe like some words. Have you guys seen that? Yes. Let me go back to Facebook because I closed you guys out. And see. Um, okay, you have. Okay. So if you're able to create something like that, so I can show you here. I created a little flyer. Hold on, guys. I got logged out of all my stuff. I created like a little flyer that I did on Canva, and that's just like the little banner that I have on my TikTok live. I keep it the same every single time. Um, Let me just share my screen. And you'll obviously see it um on the live. So this is what I have. Okay. I did recently change it because you have to be very careful with the words that you say on TikTok Live. You cannot say, um, you have to be very careful with like money, paid, um, like it'll flag you, right? So initially, I did have a banner that was like, make money booking travel. And I was using that for about 3 months, and the page looked completely different. It said DM travel, like it was set up differently. And it worked pretty well. And then all of a sudden, I started getting restricted on TikTok Live, where it was saying, oh, you're restricted for 10-minute increments, meaning TikTok was not going to push my live out to people on the For You page, which that's not good. You don't want that. You want it to be pushed there because that's going to mean more people are going to be interested in what you have to say and come into your live. So, I realized after having a nice little chat with ChatGPT that TikTok will monitor. And again, as I've told you guys during other TikTok trainings, TikTok is an AI algorithm platform. So it's constantly scanning. Okay. So even though I was not verbally saying it, because my banner had the word money, um, commissions, it had like those types of flagged words, it then caught on to it and flagged my TikTok live. So it wasn't until what's today? Today's Wednesday. So it just happened this week, honestly, the whole restriction. So I had a chat with ChatGPT, switched up my flyer, and then was able to, I've gone live now several times with no issues. Okay. So I truly think it may have just been the words on the flyer. Oh yeah, it was Monday, Halia. I truly think it was the words on the flyer. So have ChatGPT help you. Like, for example, let me go back to my little chat here. Okay. So you want to make sure, and I can probably share this thread with you guys with ChatGPT. I guess I have to figure out how to do that. But you want to kind of go through a loop of words, of things that you want to talk about. Number one, storytelling. Okay. Go through a loop of storytelling. So, who are you? What do you do? How did you get started in the travel industry? Or maybe you can even do a client success story. Okay. I didn't do slides for today. Sorry, guys. So, if you want to take notes, take notes. Um, Education. Okay. So, providing that value and that knowledge. So, whether if you're sharing education such as travel insights, if you like insider hacks, Oh, did you know, like for example, the last few lives I've done, I've always thrown in, oh, by the way, if you guys didn't know, Disney, for 2026, kids eat free with the Disney dining plan from ages 3 to 9. So if you have anybody, if you have kids that wanted to go to Disney, great time to go to Disney. That's a education piece, right? That I wouldn't have known otherwise if I was not a travel agent, right? You can also then throw in engagement prompts. So asking your viewers that are on your TikTok live to engage with you. Let me know where you're joining me from. If you love to travel, drop an airplane emoji in the chat. What's your dream destination? Like incorporate them into your conversation. So every so often, I will ask people, hey, drop your questions in the chat. What's your favorite place you want to go to? Let's look up a destination together because I that engagement is going to help push your TikTok live. Okay. And then a call to action. All right. So if you want to learn more, if you're curious about what all of this means, there's a link in my bio. Hit the follow button, DM me the word whatever, whatever your keyword is. I'll get connected with you as soon as I'm done. Okay. So the loop of storytelling, what is it? Storytelling, education, engagement, and call to action. Okay. And you just go on a loop over and over and over. So can it seem pretty redundant? Yes. But I change it up every time so that when I go through my 10, 15-minute little loop, I start up at the top, right? Because if you guys have ever been on a TikTok live, people are going in and out, right? Sometimes you may have people that stick with you the entire time, and other times they're going to come off and then they come back on and whatever. So you always want to also acknowledge the people that are coming in, and TikTok will show you that people are coming in. Um, Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry guys. I got a little bit of a time sensitive message and I wanted to make sure I replied back right away. Um, okay. If you guys are watching on Facebook, I promise I'm not ignoring you. It's just I'm using my phone to go through my notes here with my TikTok thread or with ChatGPT thread. Um, what engagement tips do you have? Zoom user. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. So engagement tips. You can ask them, drop a comment. If you love to travel, drop an emoji. Oh, Jen. Okay. Drop an airplane emoji in the chat. If any questions that you guys have, I'm an open book. Drop them in the comments. Where's your dream destination? Let's say you're gonna go pull up a reservation to give them an example of like a whole all-inclusive vacation package. Drop a destination in the chat. What destination do you want to go to that we can pull up and make a trip together? And you can see the commission built in, something like that. Um, yeah, Mary. So the loop, it will be storytelling, education, engagement prompts, and then call to action. Okay. So you want to also, TikTok will tell you if who joins in your room. Okay. So Sally joined the live. Hey, Sally, thanks so much for coming in. Whatever, right? We're talking about travel, all things travel, how you can be profitable in the travel industry, whatever. You want to also be excited. Is it awkward? Super. Okay. Super awkward the first time you do it. But now it's just like, whatever. Um, but you want to seem excited. If you're like, hey, Sally, thanks so much for coming in. So, yeah, we're talking about whatever. That's boring. People are not going to want to stay, okay? You want people to stay. You want them to like feed off of your energy, right? And maybe this person, maybe these people that come into your TikTok live end up not even interested in wanting to be a travel agent or join your team, but they just like you so much that they're like, you know what, I'm going to reach out to her for my next Hawaii trip, right? So you still are able to build the connection with them, um, regardless, right? Yeah, James, you got to be a little peppy a little bit. Okay, so you want to acknowledge people that come into the room, okay? And you also want to make sure that you are, like, for example, in part of my loop, I do also go over frequently asked questions. So think about those frequently asked questions that maybe you get asked a lot when you are team building or when you are booking, like planning trips for clients, right? So I will go through like, oh, frequently asked questions. People tend to ask me these questions a lot, whatever. Will then often repeat questions in the comments. So answer it like it's the first time that someone asked. Don't get annoyed if you just answered that question 5 minutes ago and then now Bob comes in and asks the same question because Bob wasn't here 5 minutes ago, right? So you have to answer it still with the same energy, still with the same enthusiasm, okay? And then this is probably like a little bit more advanced. I personally haven't got to this part yet, but you can at some point you can then have a moderator. So a moderator is someone that is on your live with you that as you get busier with lives, meaning you have, several hundred people on there, it might be hard to keep up with all the comments coming through, answer questions, and kind of keep the energy flowing. So, you can always at some point designate a moderator that will come onto the live with you and help you. Not that they're on camera, so you're the one that's on camera, but they're the ones in the comments, answering questions and kind of pinning comments and things like that. So, I personally, I'm not there. Do I get a good amount of people in my lives? Yes, but not to a point where I would ever need to have a moderator at that moment, or at this time. Um, okay, so let's see if there's anything else I missed. Okay, so then any questions with that, with kind of what I shared, with like the loop, to hit different things to talk about. Because then I also want to go into like, well, now how do you follow up with somebody once they message you? What would you consider education? So Chanel, education can be something like uh, a client story. Um, oh, it's a standard across the industry that our commissions are paid out after the trouble has happened. We have access to over 130 different travel vendors and suppliers. Every single one of our travel vendors and suppliers gives us access to trainings and certifications and perks and incentives that now we can utilize for our own benefit and blah, blah, blah. So those are just examples of what kind of, because the education piece can also kind of go into and tie into who you're partnered with, who our host agency is. Does that make sense? So, what I would encourage you guys to do, because I know that, let me open up um, Facebook to make sure that I'm not um, missing anybody here. Okay, cool. All right. Where do I see? There we go. Okay. Okay, cool. Um, what was I going to say? Okay. So I would encourage you guys to utilize ChatGPT, say, hey, chat, or hey, whatever you call ChatGPT. Um, I am going to be utilizing TikTok Live to grow my profile and to grow my following or what connections on TikTok. This is the current like loop I want to follow: engagement, call to action, education, and storytelling. Knowing my story, what I have told you about myself and the type of travel that I specialize in and the type of my target audience create talking points or bullet points on blah, 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 right? And so it's going to then spit out, obviously, some talking points, and you can tweak it. Make sure that it sounds like you, make sure that it's stuff that you actually want to talk about. I will say for me, I used my little talking script. And it wasn't a script, it was just bullet points. Probably for like the first month. Um, and then it got to a point where I just memorized it. I kind of just remembered what I wanted to say and things like that. But also it helps when you have people in your TikTok room that are very engaging because they will then keep the conversation going, obviously by asking you questions. But um, you also want to, again, it's kind of just, you have to navigate going through your loop, but you may realize that as you're, let's say you're halfway through your loop. Let's say you notice that you have five new people in your room. You know what you're going to want to do? You're going to want to go back, introduce yourself. Hey, thanks so much for coming in, guys. My name is Perla. I am blah, 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 whatever, blah, 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 whatever, whatever, right? So it's a little bit of like you have to remember you want to acknowledge those people, but you also want to share your you want to go through your talking points. So you may realize that you're going to be interrupted, and that's okay. But also just be natural, just be yourself. Like it doesn't have to be scripted. Half the time I sometimes don't even have makeup on. I don't even do my hair, and that's okay. Just be yourself, okay? How often do you do these and for how long are you live? So Jen, I am live every single day. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays will be kind of just random times depending on my schedule. And I'm on for about an hour, minimum an hour. The most I've done was like an hour and a half. Um, I probably will end up doing that today. I'll probably be on longer than an hour because I look at it as, hey, this is my time to get new followers, right? Make new connections, whether if they are prospects or whether if they're travel clients. Okay. I've done them for TikTok Shop and we have to be on there for like three. Oh yeah, no, no, no. You definitely don't have to do that. I mean, obviously, the longer that you're on, it's great, but you may also realize, guys, too, if you have never gone live before, TikTok might have some restrictions on you that you may have to go through a series of you might have to go through a series of like check boxes to then actually unlock the the full TikTok live settings experience. Okay. Because there are some things that might be uh, restricted. So when I share my screen with you guys, it might not actually come up. Um, okay. Any questions before I share my screen and show you TikTok live on my iPad with the settings and stuff before I actually do my live? I brought my tripod over because I figured it would be easier. Let's see, for me to for everybody that's watching on Facebook, I'm gonna have to ignore you for a little bit, okay? Because I'm gonna go on Zoom on my phone and give myself co-host to show you my laptop or my iPad. All right, so give me 1 second. Um, make co-host. Oh, how am I going to do this? If I want to, let's see. Oh, okay. All right, this is cool. You guys can see my screen, right? All right, let's figure this out. Okay. All right, TikTok. So, is it blurry? No, right? I'm seeing it on the screen myself and it looks okay. Okay, cool. So, TikTok Live, we're gonna hit the little plus here. Okay, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry. We're gonna hit, that's not what I want. Plus at the bottom, and then we're gonna do live. So you see, it's gonna immediately be on post where my fingernail is showing. Then you have create, then you have live. So we're gonna hit live. Okay. Now, this is probably not going to have my little um, flyer that I like to have. I want to be able to show you how to do that because I know that some people, it was hard to find it at first for me too. So I just want to make sure you guys can find it. So give me 1 second. All right, let's see if I can share this with my iPad. Okay. If you guys, I don't know, just a side note, I love Apple products. Okay. I love being able to just airdrop to my devices. Okay. So, um, you guys can see okay? Is it delayed? So, one thing that you guys can do is if for whatever reason you're super scared about going live and you are have just want to practice, you can do a demo. Okay. So if you go, I'm pretty sure it's on settings. Blocking unwanted. Okay, dismiss. Practice mode. Okay, settings, practice mode. All right. So it's going to show you the same type of settings and access and buttons that are available in the regular TikTok Live, but it's a practice. It's just you in the room. That's it. Nobody else is going to see it. Nobody else is going to come. Okay. So, let's do flip. That's going to be for the camera. Okay. Enhance. This is if you want to do like any filters, change your face shape, eye shape, stuff like that. It automatically does like a very tiny filter for you. It's not anything crazy. Um, and then if you guys have questions or anything like that, I'll go through them in just a second. Um, Okay, effects. This is where you're going to add on your little banner. Okay, so I use this one here, green screen sticker. Let's do limit, and we're gonna do this one here. Okay, so I'm gonna add my photo, click it, and here's the photo. Okay, I would recommend you to make it smaller, which you can pinch it, move it up to the top, wherever. I usually keep it like towards the middle so that my face is still seen. Sometimes my face is oh, sorry guys. Sometimes my face is a little blocked, but I like to keep it just like central so people can, see it and whatever, okay? Um, settings, obviously, what you want to do is you want to have an about me. Okay. So this is going to be like an intro of yourself. So every time, have you guys noticed when you go into a TikTok live, it's going to say, it has like a little message from the person that's going live, right? So this is personally what I have. Okay. I might change it. But this has to then get approved by TikTok. Okay. Um, Let's see. Multi-guest fun kit. I haven't really experimented with that too much. Boards. So this is if you want to have, like what I was saying earlier, where you want to have like a banner or like a text up here, and then you want to have like maybe some words over here on the side. This is where you would go for boards. Okay. So you would hit create, and that's fine. We'll do that. And it's going to give you access to templates. Okay. You can see here. So this is what the board would look like. Obviously not with those words, but that's just what it would look like. Okay. So these are just like super generic, right? But let's say you want to just create your own. So you'd hit create new. And now you have the option here to do a headline and then engagement prompts and personal credentials. So headline, you can do something like, let's talk, I don't know. I probably would do a different title, but and then you can do change the font to however you want. Let's say you want that one. Let's say you want purple, and hit done. Okay. That is going to be the title. And again, you can make it, I think you can make it bigger. I guess not. So whatever you put here on the top, I would make sure that it's legible, that it's a good color based on the backdrop that you have, that it can be easily read. Okay. And then engagement prompts and personal credentials. I think this only gives you either 120 or 200 characters. So typically here you might put like, so for example, I can put like RN and mom of two, travel agent, I don't know, whatever. And maybe like an engagement prompt, like drop an airplane emoji to learn more. I don't know. This is a horrible one, but you guys get the idea. Okay. So let's hit done. There we go. Okay. So I don't think I can make this any bigger. So you can kind of decide if you like this versus having the actual banner. Okay. Um, so let's say I'm going to delete that. I don't want that. So that's how you would do those. Okay. And then you can have them that they'll, whatever you create will then be saved on here. So next time you go live, you can then just tap the board that you want and then you're good to go. Okay. Let's see. Dual camera. This is if you want to go live from both your front and back camera. Personally, I could probably see this being beneficial, like if maybe you're traveling, and you kind of want to showcase, let's say, like for example, when I went to the Eiffel Tower last year, I went live, on Facebook. So I don't know if Facebook allows this, but I couldn't figure out how to go live and show the Eiffel Tower and my face. So something like this would be beneficial. A dual camera, you can show what you're currently seeing and they can then also see your face at the same time. Okay. Practice mode, obviously, moderators. So this is where you would go to add a moderator. Okay. Um, Marked viewers. This is if like you want to highlight someone. So for example, like let's say I really want to highlight Danitza, right? So every time Danitza comes into my live, it's going to prioritize like her comments and her interactions in comparison to other people's. So that's a way for you to do that if you ever want to do that. Live setup for client acquisition. So I have not experimented with this much, but you do need to have certain requirements. So you do need to be able to go, you do need to go live for 60 minutes and get 300 unique viewers. Or I guess to build your audience. But this is kind of like for you to kind of um, get clients, right? Like where they can then reach out to you for more information, things like that. Let's see, remove background noise. You can do that. Audience controls. You can receive gifts gallery. And I guess that's pretty much it. I haven't managed like done anything here on the bottom. So that's pretty much, I never really touch anything on settings. Business. So again, I don't do anything with TikTok Shop or anything like that, in terms of selling products on TikTok Live. You have a fan club, okay? So these are people that have become top fans based on being on my live because they have either sent a gift or they like joined the fan club or whatever. You can do certain things with that fan club. And like you can do like I think you can invite them to subscribe and do like certain videos and lives specifically for those people. Service Plus is I have not done this, but this is a way for you to essentially showcase your services. So for example, I could see this being beneficial with maybe like a consulting team or coaching, like personal coaching, personal training, something like that. I guess we could also utilize this for our business too, like specifically for travel planning. But I believe that Service Plus is paid, meaning they will have to pay, like I believe, I might be wrong in terms of how it works, but basically Service Plus then is a feature that then will come up on the TikTok live, um, and will also be a feature on your profile that if someone wants to utilize your services, they could go there. Interact. So this is, for example, you can do a poll. I haven't figured this out in terms of like, if I do a poll, at what point do I put it on or how do I put it on? So when I figure that out, I'll let you guys know. But this is, again, to kind of help with engagement. These are set ones here, but obviously you can create your own. Playbook, again, I don't do anything with this. This is kind of like for you to kind of use this as like your guide for your TikTok live, and then viewer wishes. So, for example, have you guys ever seen those TikToks that are kind of funny where when people send them a gift, it causes the person to do like a dance or it causes them to say something in particular? So that's essentially what this is for. Um, Share. So that's if I want to share my TikTok live with somebody, and then promote. So that's if I want to promote this particular live and to either boost viewers, things like that. Okay. But obviously promoting it is paid. You do have to pay for it. Okay. Um, Questions. Let me go back to the computer and then I can answer your guys' questions. Okay. Let me leave this. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Get them out now before I go on my live. And obviously, if you have questions during my live, because I think I'll just end the Zoom. Oh, let me go back on the Facebook. I think I'll just end the Zoom when I go on my live. But if there's questions that you guys have, then there we go. Okay. Then you can then follow up with me, either text me or personal message. Um, or you can put the question in the live stream. I brought my All right, let's see if there's any comments here. All right, I don't see anything from Facebook. Um, the loop, yes. So the loop is going to be, let me pull it up. Storytelling, education, which education can then also be like frequently asked questions. That can also fall under education. Engagement prompt, and then call to action. Also, don't be surprised and don't feel bad. Just some tips. If you notice that as you're going live, there's nobody in the room, it says 0. Just keep going. Pretend that there's people in there listening to you, okay? Because you know how like when you scroll through TikTok and you can see a bunch of lives, but you're not actually in their live. You can just, it's almost kind of like it gives you like a preview, right? You will find that people will still reach out to you. I've had people still reach out to me from that preview, meaning they see the preview, they don't actually tap in to get into the live, but they'll still DM me like, hey, I saw your TikTok live. I'd love to learn some more information. Okay. And then we kind of just go from there. But just keep going. Like if you're just silent and just sitting there, nobody's going to want to be interested to get in there. So still keep going and keep the energy and keep the excitement, even though nobody is in there. Okay. And something else too. So I didn't show you this, and maybe I'll do this here just to share just to not have to share my screen again. So let me go to the practice mode to show you guys. Okay, I'm on practice mode on my iPad. Okay. So on the bottom, you guys are going to see my messy bedroom, but on the bottom here, bottom right, you see how I'm tapping and I'm liking my own TikTok? You can do that. Okay. I would not go crazy with it because, again, on Monday, when I got that whole restriction thing, I didn't know if the restriction was because I was liking my live or if it was because of the banner. I fixed the banner and the restriction was lifted. I didn't have any issues. So I don't think that it has anything to do with with me liking my own TikTok by you liking and kind of just tapping every so often, again, it's just going to push it out more a little bit because it kind of shows like, oh, okay, this live is popular, it's being liked a lot, or whatever. Okay. So you can do that. Okay. Now, as soon as, let's say somebody messages me from my live, meaning they sent me a message and they're like, "Hey, I was on your live," or they sent me the keyword or whatever. Um, I'd love to learn some more information. I don't continue the conversation in the TikTok inbox. I will have them text me personally. Okay. Because me personally, I get a lot of messages on TikTok. Truthfully, I do. I don't just say that to people on the live. I really do get a lot of messages, and a lot of them are spam. But I do also get clients from TikTok. And so I like to just take it out of the inbox and take it to my phone because then it's going to be a lot easier for me to follow up with them rather than me not seeing the spam message or message request days later. So I will tell them, hey, thank you so much for coming to my live. Can you please do me a favor? Send me a message. Here's my number. Send me your name and that you're interested in either travel planning or becoming a travel agent, and I'll get you some information. My inbox gets so full, I would hate to miss it. Okay. So I pretty much send the same message every time, but it truly is me being genuine. Yeah, seriously, the sugar daddies. Me being genuine because I don't want to miss their message, whether if it's for travel planning or for because they want some more information on the business. Does that make sense? And then from there, I just continue the conversation with them in texting. What's your question, Sukina? You can unmute if it's easier.
Yes, sorry. So, what I'm understanding you saying is that once you give them the keyword and then you go back after your live to your inbox and you see like whatever the keyword was, you from there you just don't like send them like your scheduling link or whatever, the blurb. You tell them to message you directly and then from there.
Because
Okay.
TikTok messages, if you guys have ever tried to send a link in TikTok, it doesn't hyperlink it. Like they
Okay.
can't tap it, at least in my experience. So I then decided at one point I was hand scheduling, but then it got to be too much because it like I have Calendly, but I was dealing with these with people that were interested from TikTok differently because Either they are a follower or it's just a different conversation. So I was treating it more like a warm market
Mhm.
versus cold. So that's when I started hand scheduling probably for the first week. And then after that I was like, screw that. I'm just going to have them text me and then I will send them my scheduling link. If they follow the instructions to text me, I will then follow up with them and provide them with the information appropriately. But if they don't, then they don't. Like I gave them already, like, hey, this is the best way to reach out to me on my cell phone. Here's my number. Please send me your name and that you're interested in, whatever travel planning or becoming a travel agent, and I'll get you the information right away.
Got it. Makes sense. Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, those sugar daddies, they are persistent for sure. Okay, any last minute questions before I um, go on TikTok live? Or I guess let me share with you guys my account, I guess, if you guys don't have my account. So that way you can get on TikTok Live. Okay. I'm gonna close out on Facebook. Just do this. No last minute questions, guys? Let me share my link here. To be honest, it's just about practicing. It's super, I'm going to be honest, it is scary in the beginning. It's like, shoot, like, what are these people going to think? I'm like just talking into the abyss. Sometimes it feels like. But the first one is always awkward, especially for those people that do presentations and know how awkward the very first one is. That's the same thing with TikTok Live. But the more you do it and you just rip off the band-aid, and I would start off with 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And even if you only get one or two people on there, that's okay. Because there have also been times where I don't get too many people on, maybe four or five people. But when I get off, I end up with like 50 new followers. And why is that? Because they're scrolling and they see the TikTok live, and maybe in the moment they don't want to go in, but they're like, oh, I kind of like what she has to say a little bit. Let me hit follow. And what happens is when you go live, TikTok is going to send a notification and like share it to friends. I don't believe it, or to the followers. I don't think it shares it to everybody. But I do believe you do get some messages or some uh, what is the word? Shares do go out because, for example, I will get that sometimes, like when Halia is going live, or sometimes I got it. I got it once with Krista, right? So you can choose to share it to people, but sometimes TikTok will also just automatically share it to some friends. Okay, so um, how long have you been going live? So Mary, I've been going live, I want to say like 2.5 months, almost three. Um, And my first live, yes, was about the business. I did not do any type of travel. Well, my very first live, because I did go live last year for the very first time, but I was not doing it consistently. Um, I did it about travel and I did it about, what I specialize in and quotes and things like that. And I was doing it very sporadically. So it wasn't anything consistent. And then it wasn't until almost 3 months ago that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to rip the band-aid off and I'm going to try it. It doesn't hurt to try. And I did it strictly team building is what my live is about. But I do still talk about, the trips that I'm booking for clients, because I still want, I'm still a travel agent, right? But I also love to help people get started in the travel industry too. So I will talk about both, but I talk more about the business and the opportunity more than travel. What was I going to say? Oh, if you guys I will say, for those of you that are familiar with TikTok, and for those of you that are posting consistently on TikTok, TikTok favors consistency. Any platform favors consistency, right? So the more consistent you are in posting, amazing. The more consistent you are on TikTok Live, even better, right? So if you can come up with some sort of live schedule for yourself, if you get to the point where you know you want to go live, whether if it's on a daily basis or twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever that looks like for you, make sure that it's actually sustainable and realistic for you. Don't set yourself up for failure from the beginning. Um, Put it on your bio. Say live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, right? Whatever that looks like for you, and stick to it. Because again, people are nosy, whether if they come to your profile based on a video that you posted or they came to your profile because of your TikTok live, right? Your bio, it has a very short amount of characters that you can put in there, but I would highlight what your live schedule is. Because some people, they just like to go on live to get information. And people are buying things, items on TikTok, and people use TikTok as a search engine. So if you're optimizing your videos, if you're making sure that everything that you're posting and sharing all matches up and is congruent, right? You'll be fine. I tried sticking to one, but then we keep having training. Yes, Sukina. So that was my issue too. I wanted to make sure that I could do it at a time that was realistic, um, that wouldn't like run into any other trainings. But I figured, you know what? I feel like that's never going to happen unless if I'm doing my TikTok live at like 10 p.m. at night, which I don't want to do. So I end up, I go live now in about 4 or 5 minutes. Do I miss Power Hour? Yes, but that's okay. I can watch the recording. Do I miss, some other trainings that happen at that same time, other days of the week? Yeah, but if I want to watch it, I'll just catch the recording. So, that's just how I viewed it because, yeah, and you do it, you figure out what is the best time for you with your family dynamic with your household. So I do it now at this time because I know that that's when Isabel is sleeping. There are times as well where I will do it at nighttime. I've gone live, I think, once or twice before at like 11 p.m. midnight. And I just did it just for fun, not because I wanted to, but I was just like, let me try it, right? Because the people that come to your live during the day are going to be very different than the people that come to your live in the nighttime. So it's just about hitting two different people groups. But you test it out. Like I know Halia at one time when she was starting to doing her lives, she was doing them at different times just to see what worked better for her. And then from there, I don't know what time she set, but she then has, her own set time. And if it's not realistic for you to go live every single day, then just do it 2, 3 times a week, right? I personally started doing it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then randomly I was like, oh, let me just do it on a Thursday and let me see how it worked. And I was like, oh, this is actually not so bad. So now I've just gotten so used to it and I stick to that. But only you can decide the best time for you to go. 12 to 2 is typically when I go live. That's when I get the most. Yeah, exactly. So it also will then be dependent on your viewers too. So, for example, I got a notification that said like, "Oh, your viewers are most active at like 7 p.m. Eastern." But I'm like, that doesn't work for me. I can't get on at 7 p.m. Like that's when, we're kind of wrapping up dinner or whatever. and I'm with the kids and it's just a fiasco. So, or with sports or whatever. So I just decided I'm gonna just do it now. And whoever I end up catching at that time, we make the connection. They can follow me. If I end up going live later in the day because I'm able to, I have the time or whatever, um, then even better, right? So you kind of have to play around with it at first. Okay, guys. So I'm going to get on the live now. If you guys would like to just see a demo, feel free. Give me 1 second. I don't know why this keeps doing this. There we go. Do you use your phone, iPad? So Mary, I use my phone. I don't know that you can go live on the laptop. I haven't tried it. I think I tried it once, but I think you have to do it through like a third party. Like, I don't think that it's actually through TikTok, but it will then like stream it to TikTok. It seemed too complicated for me that I was like, never mind. I'm not doing that. So, I do it through my phone. I haven't tried it through my iPad only because I don't have a uh like a stand for my iPad that will keep it still. Um Otherwise it's like clunky and big. Maybe once I get one, or maybe if I can prop it up against something, but I'm just so used to doing it on my phone. But you can do it on whatever one works best for you. You have to download TikTok Studio on a computer. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. I didn't even get that far. I was just like, this looks very confusing. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to stick with the phone, which works well. So, um, obviously, the only downside is you're using your phone. So, in the event you get a text message, phone call, or whatever, um, you can't answer it because you're on the live. Otherwise, it'll pause the live. Okay, guys, I'm going to get on the live now. If you want to join me, feel free just to kind of get an idea of what it is. Like listening to kind of like the loop. You don't have to stay on by any means for the whole time. Um, but again, if you guys have questions about it after you listen, feel free to send me a message or text me if you guys have my number. Okay. Um, I will see you guys on the live if you are there. Bye, guys.